I had a quick look at your website. Nice, clear, straightforward website. You've been doing this quite a long time, haven't you?
Yeah, I started in it was 2008. I mean, it was a bit ropey in the early days, but I think I got the hang of it now. Or I hope so, anyway. So yeah.
Well, I listened to about 45 minutes that you did with Thomas, but Thomas is a really good safe rider, isn't he? He's a great passenger to have.
Yeah, oh no, he's great. I mean, the stuff that he was talking about as well, because I've been through the whole kind of shape-shifting lizard thing like we all have been through. When Thomas was actually, he singled out the psychopath and he'd done this autodidactic study of the psychopath with, in a multidisciplinary way, it made an enormous amount of sense to me. And the fact is that it's real using their empirical science, not fantasy. So that was good.
The men in white coats have been coming to take us away for a long time.
Yeah.
I call them spycologists because these people are the spy therapists. That's what they are. They actually rape you. They sit down and say, "You tell me your problems. What is it? What do you can hear voices in your head. You're talking to. You need to talk to me. I need to help you with that. You're thinking dark and deep thought. I need to help you with that." You actually hear a never-ending commentary in your head. You have advisors living inside your head. I need to help you with that. The men in white coats are going to use the mind-altering that they're doing to us to blame us for being broken people, and they're going to blame us for everything that's gone wrong because they have put the crap in our heads to make us what we are.
Yeah.
This is absolute rubbish. The men in white coats who claim themselves to be doctors have got nothing but mind-altering pills to make it. They are the fake shamans of the day.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, because obviously, like shamanism is something that I kind of talked about a lot on the show. But unlike, I'm quite cynical as well because one of the things there's two things that I don't like. One thing I don't like is the kind of trendy middle class Bruce Parry set, just jumping on bandwagons, plagiarising all these foreign cultures.
We have a clue. We're from Yorkshire. We haven't a clue who these people are, by the way. YouTube's a place for lazy people who can't bother to read.
And then, of course, you've got the irreverent use of drugs, the kind of like recreational, hedonistic use. So it's kind of like, we have a missing cultural piece of furniture, so to speak. That's what
I don't worry about what everybody else has got. I worry about my little life and how it works out for me.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, honestly, what other people do is behind the closed doors. For me, and it's just up to them, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I mean,
opinions are okay, but they're not really worth anything. We don't worry about it. We just say how it's been for us, don't we?
We do.
We sit here every Tuesday and say, "This is how it's been for us. This is what we thought. This is how fools we looked."
Yeah.
But before we just start, what we say? Do you remember in the early days when we really believed that by birthright there was an amount of money put into a bond that we could access if we knew how to do it? Do you remember that?
Yes.
And that's how stupid and gullible we were.
Yeah.
And you just laugh back, don't you? Yeah. And then you read, you watch YouTube and you think, magnets. That's the way to open your third eye. So after some trouble, you manage to lay your hands on some, and you tape them to your forehead, and they don't work. But these are things that we laugh about or look back and laugh, because they say truth is stranger than fiction, but that's not always true. It depends who the storyteller is, because we've got some master storytellers who wrote a 2-level fable called the Bible that the majority of the world actually believe is true.
Yeah.
It's a real dangerous conversation to have with people.
Yeah, you're right. No, it's true. And also, the more I look into the Bible, the more I realise it was done by theologians who were kind of like, well, they were the censors of the day, weren't they?
Really? Do you really think theologians did it?
Well, I don't know. They were men in dresses, that's for sure. But
is the Bible not the way we're all being controlled? Is it not a template for the control system to keep repeating the same cycle so everybody believes the same thing? The end of the world is coming next week. Hold on tight.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. The end of the world is always coming next week. That's why I was sceptical of 2012 for most of the year.
Yeah, they've moved that to 2013, didn't they?
It's been rescheduled a number of times. I think you may find the first earliest schedule in the AD, before Coronation Street, AD.
Yeah,
you may find that as philosopher of the day, whose name I forget, the father of lies, I think his name was. He said that he believed the world and man within it could not survive another 100 years, and that was over 2,500 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody said 150 years ago, I think we've invented all that we can invent.
I've heard that. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing. Sorry, I've got sort of butt in there, but I'll tell you one thing that I found out was in the 1930s, they thought that unsterilised scissors in barbershops were causing baldness. I mean, we now know that it's some men turn testosterone into DHT. That's now known. But back then, they actually thought it was unsterilised scissors. And this was 40, 50 years after we should no longer invent anything.
Well, we're just actually developing a culture now over the past 20 years ago that think the sun's bad for them.
Mm-hmm.
It's all going well, isn't it?
It is.
But this is it. I mean, we actually come from a point of view, don't we, that everything around us is screaming for us to bloody wake up.
Yeah.
Everything says, if you want to listen properly and understand what I'm telling you, if you can do the dot to dot, then we're going to tell you how this world works, and we're giving you a choice. And the choice is real simple. Get involved and turn it around, or don't get involved, and we'll do the steering, and don't you worry about it. We'll take care of you right until the crash.
Yeah. Oh, no, I don't trust anyone else to do that for me. No way.
But you see what I mean by that? The system always says, you leave it to us, we'll keep you safe. Now, this is mummy and daddy, Colin, isn't it? This is the overarching mummy and daddy that makes us all children of the system. And we are all wards of the system, and whether you like it or not, we are. We have no opportunity to indicate that we're men or women in any legal name, form, or signature at all. Because we deserve that. On the whole, we actually deserve it. We've been domesticated to the point now where we think an opinion is the only weapon that we have. We think words is the most powerful comeback. And yet, not so long ago, you'd smack them on the nose end and say, if you want some more, that's where the power comes from. The power comes from me smacking you on the nose and you daren't come back. Yeah. Force is what really rules this world, not words. Yeah. You see, we've been made a script. Script is an old word for money, by the way. Script is the word for money, and also for the forearm. Yeah.
It's also the slang for what is it junkies get from the doctor when they're recovering from heroin, isn't it?
Of course, Get a script,
but it's a pre-script, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
They know you're coming.
They do, yeah.
You see, previously scripted means wrote beforehand.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the script is what we're all following anyway, because this is a staged economy and a staged existence. But here's where we differ from a lot of people. What would you do if it wasn't?
Yeah, it's true.
What's the alternative?
Well, the alternative is to be spontaneous, but it's almost like they've forgotten how to do that as well.
I mean, you can give me the ideology of it, but it's not real. The ideology is just, I think. Well, you can't think. No one can think. You can only remember what you've been told by somebody else. That's all you can ever do. We can't think in a way that we're independent. We can't think in a way that we've imagined something that's never been imagined before. We don't have that ability. That's why all we have is research. Yeah. Research is the capping of our ability to find what's only been found previously. The fact that we find it and put it in our storage cabinet, which is our head, means that we feel that we've researched and found something of value. But it's just like dogs digging bones. Yeah. That's nothing more than that. To research is to educate yourself, but not to improve the system. The system captures your ability by saying that's what's there to be found. Go look, go hunt.
Yeah, well, I'll give you an idea, throw a spanner in the works of all this. I was thinking the other day how when James Watt was sitting there boiling his kettle on his fire and he saw the lid going up and down, it was that made him think, the potentiality of steam power, then the steam engine, then the steam ship. It was purely a surge of inspiration that brought that, and it was literally nothing but a surge of inspiration.
It's all from observation, isn't it? The words we speak and the things we create are only ever from observation, from observing what's successful in our vision, and then turning that into an alternative use. Yeah. That's all we've ever done. I mean, steam engines aren't new. James Watt didn't invent the steam engine. He just did in this version of history that we live in.
All right, well, fair enough, yeah.
The Egyptians were using steam to do the very same thing, if you believe the history. But we don't get into arguments about words that we can't prove are true or false. What's the point?
No, fair enough.
All we know is true is what we can find out in living memory and who we trust to tell us it.
Yeah.
Everything before that can be altered. And the biggest altar are those that have got the biggest altar. And the biggest altar is the church.
Yeah.
And the church was the court of the day. And it always will be. Yeah. That's why you've got confession and courts. That's why it's there.
Yeah.
That's why government bodies are also referred to as ministries, and governments are referred to as ministers. Isn't it?
Yeah, they're just little mini stars.
Yeah.
That's all they are. They're just the mini stars who are circling around the church.
Yeah.
26 of the lords are the church boys and girls.
Yeah.
They're the bishops and the archbishops sit in the lords, and there's 26 of them, and their places are secure and permanent. This is we're looking at the system upside down.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks the Queen just flogs plates and tourism. To a point she does, and to a point she doesn't have control of Parliament like we all sort of suspect she might.
No.
But she does have the money.
Yeah.
She has the money and the power. She's the richest woman in the world, and there is very little doubt about that now. There is so much evidence that she owns 16% of this planet. Not just the land, 16% of its global mass belongs to her and her family. Yeah. She is the richest woman in the world, but she can't run the place on her own. No. She's the figurehead. She's the female at the front of the ship. She's the first person you see when the ship docks at whatever country it's at next. But she can't run the place. You know that.
No,
the City of London runs the place.
Yeah.
But that only runs the empire. Big business and parliaments are in business of doing other things. They're in the business of running us. They keep us in line. Yeah. That's what they do. That's what they've always done. And over the years, they've given us the internet. And they're not quite sure whether they're happy that they're giving us it. No. But it's all going quite well, isn't it, from their point of view, really? We're actually... Well, yeah. Because people are so turned off from politics now that they can get away, openly get away with being paedophiles, thieves, liars, deceivers. It doesn't matter anymore. There's no shame.
No.
They're absolutely shameless now. They actually get away with everything. The newspapers, I know we like to believe that they're all controlled, and they're not all controlled, but they all know what they can't talk about.
Well, Dave, I mean, a lot of the journalists, if you can call them, or journalists as I like to call them nowadays, they've got mortgages, they got wives, they got, kids and all the rest
Correct,
of it.
Yeah.
And if they were to overstep the line within their framework, they have an enormous amount to lose. So they are grabbed by the short and curlies.
Everybody's a prostitute, my friend.
Yeah, the collar and the cuffs.
Everybody's a prostitute. Everybody sells a little bit themselves. Okay, in return, it's what you're going to get, you know. Some people have got a talent, some people have got a skill, and some people have just got themselves. Yeah. And that's called the labour exchange. And some people who don't choose to exchange the labour, then exchange their bodies. Yeah. They actually sell their bodies. Yeah. But we live in a world of shared exchanges. It's called sex, but it's called shared exchanges or shared experiences. We just minimise it to the word sex and think it accounts for one particular aspect of life. This is absolute rubbish. Shared experiences are what's going on all day. Remember, we call politicians bankers, but we don't, because it's got a silent W. That's what we call them. But have a little think about that, okay? That's what we call them, isn't it? They're a bunch of so-and-sos, yeah? Well, technically, in the language as it's designed, that is actually quite true. Because their job is to sit us down and put on a show and pleasure us while they're doing it. But they do it orally. Yeah. They orally share their experiences with us. They tell us that they're there to serve our needs. They are our servants, and they will do all it takes to make sure our lives will be made better. This is the oral shared experience, where they are pretending to pleasure us with their mouths. Yeah. You think about how that works, and you think about how that actually dilutes down throughout society itself, and you start to understand that when we call them wankers, it's because they are. When we call them a bunch of tossers, it's because that's what they're doing to us. You see, we use the language against them, but we're not very smart, because this language has taught us the word less on is to be brighter and more on is to be dim. This is a very simple language, actually recited by very stupid people.
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, because I'm a keen enthusiast of reclaiming my language, de-Orwellisation, as I like to call it. And recently, a couple of words that came to me I got from Max Kaiser, and he refers to the politicians as kakistocrats, or a kakistocracy, which basically means an elite class of people who are not qualified to do the job. It's like having the Three Stooges or something like that in charge. And he refers to the bankers as kleptocrats, and that's obvious. So I always say when I'm going to the bank now, I'm going to the kleptocrats. And I always imagine now, because I think I'm living in a kakistocracy, that Cameron and all the rest of it, I just think of them as glorified Halford's assistants now.
They are, yeah.
Well, not quite though. I think we're a bit too dismissive with them. I mean, these are the sons and daughters of very rich and powerful people.
Yeah.
Both Cameron and Clegg can be traced back to Russian royalty. There's no problem with that. The Miliband's can be traced back to Polish Ashkenazis. This is all easily traceable stuff. These people always come from certain bloodlines.
Yeah.
And we dismiss the bloodline connection. We know it exists, but we don't really always remember it when we're having our conversations.
No.
These people marry into money and share power, but they never dilute it. They try and consolidate it, which is why they have so many balls around. Because the balls is what we don't have and they do have. They have a who dares wins balls, and they always masquerade. And their job is to marry people off, not because they love each other, but because they love what they can do for each other.
Yeah, I say it's funny, there's a politician called Ed Balls as well, isn't there?
There is. I wonder sometimes if these people just make the names up before they get here.
Yeah,
I do sometimes
actually,
wonder.
come to think, when New Labour got in, I looked at the two of the surnames of the members of the cabinet right back then, and I realised that we'd actually got the short straw.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
you say kleptocracy or kleptocrats. It is ruled by a bunch of thieves. You do know that, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
That is actually as simple as that. It's from kleptes, which is thief, which is it's always Greece. Our word is our language is always Greece. Frankie Valli told us in the song, and they must be laughing their heads off in the way that they tell us, because Greece is the word, is the time, is the emotion. Yeah. Greece is the way you were feeling. It always tells us. They laugh and laugh and laugh in the way that they make us ignorant to the fact that their experiences, their entertainment is making us look foolish.
Yeah.
But it changes because laughter goes to slaughter, which actually spells slaughter.
Oh, yeah.
Eventually, when you get too smart and too big for your boots, they bloody well shoot you.
Yeah, you're right.
They shoot you down one way or another.
Yeah, it's true, because they shoot you down, like shout you down. Yeah.
Eventually, they will bring your world crashing down. They don't literally shoot in the back of the head, but they can end your world in a day.
Yeah.
In a bloody day. Now, we're allowed to do this because the system is screaming to us to learn. It's screaming to us to grow up. And by virtue of filtration, which all fish are actually living in a filtered environment, and we are no different, because we are the fish that feed the resources that are the fishers of men. You know, they actually think they're the sons of gods. They actually do believe that they are the sons and daughters of a god they call Lucifer. Yeah. And they believe to serve him because they call him the fisher of men, the fisher king, the king fisher. And the dream works because DreamWorks is a film company that starts with a little boy sat on the moon fishing.
Ah, yeah.
They're very clever.
Yeah.
They're very clever. The moon, of course, is the female deity that Lucifer has sex with. You know that, don't you?
Oh, right. No, I didn't know that, actually. But
yeah, this is all the story that gets them entrapped, okay? It isn't entertainment. They take the E out because it isn't earthly, and entertainment turns to entrainment. It's really, really simple. They captivate everybody. Captivate is to encircle and keep in one place. And we are nothing but captivated as much as the people above us are. They get to know the secrets of control. The secrets of control, the ones that we're sharing with you now. These secrets are not methods of control that are real, but they work to a certain point, and then you see the man behind the veil, and you realise that now the control is in your hands.
Yeah.
It's not hard. It's full of mysteries and truths. They're called bloody myths. And we love myths and we love stories because children always love stories, and they always love a happy ending, which is why Hollywood always gives us one. Yeah. Except the happy ending always comes in the church's version after you've bloody died.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And we're stupid. We still believe that we're living a Hollywood life, crave, brave, and grave. We desire to be brave, and we desire it all the way to be at the end of our days. Crave, brave, and grave don't rhyme by mistake because the language always rhymes, just as history rhymes, but we're too stupid and watching something else to even look.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you that one of my favourite phrases or sound bites is when Terence McKenna said, reality is made of language. And that stuck with me. For some reason, that just resonated.
Reality is made of?
Language.
Of course it is. Yeah. We create it by speaking it.
Yeah.
But we don't create anything other than what we're shown. You see, we don't create. We create what we're told to create. We bring it into reality by being shown it. We have to like it, first of all. Our status is that we have to like it. We say, oh, I like that, oh, I like that, oh, I like that. And it's always shown to us in science fiction and children's books. Yeah. And slowly but surely, they bring it a little more forward. And now they have a monitoring station in everybody's house. They can hear every word, and they can even work out what you're thinking and know what you're going to do before you know what you're going to do.
Yeah. Screened, isn't it? They're screening it.
Of course it is. You see, we have the word SEEN, which is, just what I've seen. Right? But what we're really creating is an SCENE. We're making the next day's pictures.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing, you see, because we live in a film. We live in a live, moving image. And that's what it is, a moving image. It's called movies.
Yeah.
And on the outside of your window is a little dust on the outside of the window. And what's it called? It's called film, because the window they want you to watch is their window and their film. Never mind your own eyes and what you think you see and what you think you hear. They want to tell you what you see and tell you what you hear. Yeah. And never mind what you think, because thinking's not for you. We'll take that away. We'll tell you what you see, and we'll tell you what it means or what it meant. And when you put see and meant together, that's how creation starts building the courses of foundations of life itself.
Yeah, it's true. It ends up being ossified.
You missed the see meant, didn't you?
Yeah. No, I got that. That's
Good.
what I mean. Yeah. I mean, that's what I meant. That's why I said it all gets ossified, and then it becomes fixed ideological positions that everyone fight over.
Yeah, I use the word ideological. Everybody thinks that's the actual focus of dreams. Ideological is just people spraffing off other people's ideas, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ideological sounds like we could possibly do it. It says ideological. Of course, most ideas we have might be logical, but they're not going to bloody work.
No,
because we live in a totally
illogical.
This is a technologic. Technologic. Technical, but no logic.
Yeah.
All right, it doesn't make sense to you because you're not smart enough to work it out. Because you don't know that the long-term project is we are taking over the evolution of mankind itself. We've taken over the evolution of mankind for many years now. We decide what he thinks, we decide what he feels, and we decide how smart he's going to be. And that's why we stick a mortarboard on his head, because he's only ever going to serve the builders.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Because we're the builders, yeah.
Mortarboard, again, you come back to cement again.
We are going to cap his ability. Okay, we're going to call it capability and give them a cape so they think they're a bloody superhero. But they aren't the superheroes. They're their abilities that's been capped, because they're there to take the mortar to the builders. Yeah. That's why the building in Brussels is not built. That's why we have buildings around us, because nothing's ever built. These things should be called built, but they're not. They're called building, because that's what we do. Our little lives, we build a life of never-ending stories. We store them, and we store them by our eyes, and they're called store eyes. And every building has got floors that are called stories in. Yeah. The most ignorant at the bottom, and that's the biggest number. And the most informed are at the top, and that's the smallest number. And the wealth cascades down in the same way.
Well, you talk about the building in Brussels. I mean, that has been deliberately architecturally built to look incomplete as well.
I know it has. Of course it has. It's the Babylon Tower, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the Tower of Babel, isn't it? But it's all repeating something that's been a control system that's been successful over hundreds and thousands of years. Right? All we're ever doing is living in a control system that keeps updating.
Yeah.
Is the Tower of Babel real? Was Jesus real? Did Noah exist? Did the garden? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter at all.
It doesn't matter when we get to where we are today in 2014. I mean, we've got an entire population that thinks it's 2014. But it bloody well can't be. We've only been here 2014 years.
Yeah.
No, it's 2014 years since the last time the shit hit the fan and we had to start again.
Yeah, that's true. They pressed the reset button, didn't they?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, when you were a kid, did you play Monopoly?
Well, I did try. I wasn't very good at Monopoly. I seem to be better at it in my adult years.
Exactly, yeah. But when you get to the bank, you also get to be the thief, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you see, you ask anybody who plays Monopoly, they've all thieved when they were the banker.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, as a bullet point I would like to bring up, I wouldn't mind your take on this, right? One of the things that I've realised about the so-called truth movement, as they call it.
I've given up with that idea. Right. The truth moves around. Whoever thought they could catch it?
Yeah, right. Well, there was one example I would like to put to you. There's this woman who you may have heard of, Dr. Judy Wood, who done a forensic report of
9/11. I know.
Right. Now, I am...
What a hot potato 9/11 is after all these years.
Well, she didn't speculate at all. People asked her the question, what do you think of this? What's your theory of this? How do you speculate about that? She says,
I know what you're going to say, yeah.
Now, you'd think they would have been pleased that this is someone who's actually taking, an empirical approach to it, rather than her being witch hunt, so to speak. And that's what really kind of woke me up to the fact that there is no truth movement.
There isn't. Well, what do you think happened on 9/11?
I have a few theories. I mean, to be honest, looking at all the working models, Judy Wood's one does actually look the most convincing to me because, I can see what she said. And when I've looked at all the other things like the thermite stuff, I mean, I don't find there's enough evidence there. But at the same time, I think it was deliberately set up so that it would be an unsolved mystery. I think that wherever they are, they were clever enough to give us an unsolved mystery that we would never get to the bottom of, because that's part of their engineering plot anyway.
How old are you in the awake movement?
Oh.
How many years you been awake?
Well, I'd say...
Now, come on, tell the truth. Tell the truth. Most people tell lies here.
All right. Well, I really wouldn't know how to answer that, absolutely. But I have been outside of the mainstream for 20 years or more. I'd say that I probably dawdled the first half of it. But I think I went to it after 9/11. I really wanted to know. But, of course, the more I've gone into it, the more I realised everyone else seems to be on an entry level, compared... I
heard in your interview today about the third group.
Yeah.
You were talking to Thomas about the third group.
Well, I call it third place, yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to go back to the life you had with the people that you used to mix with because you don't belong there.
No.
You don't want to stay in the aggressive, argumentative, dumbfounded idiots that at the beginning.
No.
But they have to go through that.
Yeah.
They have to work their way out of the maze. They have to stop being a maze and they have to get out of it. And the only way they can do that is through their own endeavours. They have to want to get out of it. They have to want to leave the dog pound. They can go out hunting with the tribe all day, and of course it's completely counterfeited by YouTube. They actually do truly believe that they're going on YouTube and making a difference to the world. They are, but the world they live in usually has one person in it, and it's them. But they have to want to get out, and you tend to think, I'm going to wait until they've surfaced, really, because these people, they're dangerous to know. They are dangerous, but the reason why a lot of them don't get out is because they got in there for a specific reason. And usually the reason that they got involved in this stuff is because life isn't treating them well. So they get involved in it, and because life isn't treating them well, YouTube provides a never-ending series of links of why life isn't treating them well and who they can blame. And they never get out of that.
No.
I mean, how many people have we met, Andy, over the years who are actually fighting the system through the courts to try and keep a house that they can't afford to pay for? How many people have we met? Bloody loads.
Loads, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They actually want to keep a house they can't afford to pay for.
And then
they expect to buy a house on bloody benefits and have a holiday as well.
And towards the end, they're all fighting and firing and going forward at the beginning, and then it fizzles out, and then towards the end you don't hear anything, and that's usually because the inevitable's happened and the house is gone, probably.
Yeah, but we think everybody has to be a winner. Well, everybody's not a bloody winner. If everybody was a winner, we wouldn't be in this bloody mess, would we? I mean, quite simply, from my point of view, we've got a corrupt financial system. Well, yeah, but it's really corrupt in the way it has to be this way. The financial system works until we get the stealing, the theft becomes unmanageable. This is where banks are going bust and sticking it on our children and grandchildren's tab.
Yeah.
That's never really happened before.
Well, I tell you, talking about house prices and stuff like that, and talking about mortgages, right? An ex-girlfriend who was very good at maths, and we sat down and worked something out. I thought, right, let's look at house price inflation over the last 10 years. Let's look at wage inflation over the last 10 years. And we got...
I can tell you.
Yeah, we got... And then just instead of working out how much it would cost, I worked out how long it would take to pay it off. We started with a house that would have cost like £95,000 in the London suburb, like Hounslow, and then worked out 120 years later how long it would take to pay it off. It went from 25 years to almost 40,000 years.
How? Tell me that. I don't understand how you've done that.
Right. What we've done is I worked out how much the prices had been during this property boom, and sort of like, I know it isn't real, but we assume that, right, if they're going to say this is sustainable, 20% a year or whatever, and imagine it carries on forever.
How's it on the UK average? Yeah. Houses have gone up 155% since the year 2000.
Yeah.
And wages have gone up 41%.
Right.
And that's today's figures.
I was talking about the boom then.
Right, okay.
And we've sort of slipped off then. So I thought, right, they're telling us that this is sustainable and it's always going to go like this. So I knew it wasn't going to happen. So I deliberately went out of my way to work out the economics of if what they were saying was going to be true, and worked out it would eventually take 40,000 years to pay off a house 110 to 120 years later.
Yeah. Well, that's Wonga accounting for, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, we've got adverts on the TV now that typically APR 2,938%.
Yeah. Well, we've had the conversation on our show. I've said it on a couple of occasions that my kids, I've had the conversation with my son to say, you're probably going to have to take this mortgage on. Because we're paying the mortgage at the moment and it's going up in such a way and the wages are going down in such a way that it is unsustainable for us to keep it going.
Yeah.
So the only way that they're not going to actually inherit the house, they're going to inherit the mortgage.
Yeah, you're right.
That's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I said, are you okay with that? And he said, well, I'll have to be.
Yeah. Well, I'm an advocate of Bitcoin. I know that you haven't really looked into it that much, but it saved my business last year.
Very good. Yeah. How do you mine them?
Well, I haven't actually mined them myself.
We
don't
know this. They keep saying on here, you mine these Bitcoins. How?
You'd need to get these specialised rigs that are super powerful computers.
It's got the word rig in it. Yeah. I don't want anything to do with it.
Yeah. Well, I've never mined Bitcoin. I've never bought any mining rigs, but I have been accepting it as payment for 2.5 years, and I've looked at it over the last 2.5 years. It has actually gone up 100 times. I've done so much research and used it for so long that I'm now confident in it. It's it's one of those things that I have actually become an expert in, and I do see potential for it. I see also that technologically it is the most compatible form of money for the internet. Credit cards are completely anachronistic. That's 1950s technology, and if there are any crashes, if there are going to be any more Cypresses, it will cause a spike in Bitcoin because people will be desperate to find somewhere safe for their money beyond government.
So who owns it?
Actually, no one. It's completely
that cannot be true. That cannot be true.
It's a peer-to-peer BitTorrent type system. It exists only on the computers of individuals, and it's literally a protocol in the same way that HTTP is a protocol. I mean, that's technical stuff. That's probably another conversation.
That's why we keep away from it. Honestly, you can't. To me, cash in the pocket is there's nothing else that matters.
I've got a question for you. How are you safeguarding your, I don't know how they say, store or bank of them or megabytes of them? I don't know how that was word, but just from my layman's point of view, is
when the internet goes down,
if your internet goes down, or somebody trolls the internet and says, right, gets into your account and steals all of those.
Well, two exchanges
how
do
they steal them?
Oh yeah, exchanges will collapse, but I've got a good argument there. They weren't bailed out, right? That's good. They were meant to collapse because that's how capitalism really should work.
I agree.
And also, as well as that, the exchanges are not Bitcoin itself. Bitcoin is completely separate of the exchanges, and the exchanges only exist for fiat currency to be turned into Bitcoin.
Yeah, we're not against it. It's just that I don't trust it.
But I will say, because I want to answer your question properly, that you asked me.
Yeah.
If you set up a cold storage wallet, that is, you set up a QT Bitcoin QT app on your computer, and then you take the wallet.dat file off your computer and you keep it in an encrypted file, or you keep it on a spare hard drive or a thumb drive offline. It cannot be hacked. They can't even prove you have it.
That was going to say, do you take them off there and put you on a separate hard drive that nobody can get into?
Yeah, and you can have multiple copies of it, and it can't be double spent. That's another thing.
Okay.
So,
I mean, I hope it's independent. I hope it makes a difference.
Yeah.
I hope it does allow us to spread freely. I'm not against Bitcoin, but I'm not in it.
Fair enough.
I don't understand it fully, and I don't think I ever will. I'm a technophobe.
Oh.
I can only just click.
I've still
got the old phone where I can just make calls and do texts. That's as far as I go there. But what were I going to say then? For me to get into it, it's really not a no-no. It's a no-no for me. I just don't understand it, so I'm not going to go there. And I'm going to be a dinosaur in that respect, I think, unless we are forced into it. Now, I can see how this Bitcoin fits with the cashless society.
Yeah,
but the banks don't run Bitcoin, so we won't be forced into Bitcoin. The banks will be running the credit system.
But the banks don't like Bitcoin.
Exactly. Yeah. But we let it's always a lie, isn't it? It's always a possible lie. We don't really. The thing about what actual commission charges are charged for Bitcoin.
Well, you don't have to pay commission charges if you don't want to, but you can offer to donate like a penny, to speed up the performance.
So there is no charge at all for using Bitcoin.
Well, you can choose how much you want, to pay to speed up the transaction, and that only means a penny or something like that. And because you've got 8 decimal places, it's limited in amount. There will only ever be 21 million of them. As soon as it becomes famous, it's like the internet in the 90s now. As soon as everyone gets into Bitcoin, my Bitcoins will go up. I'll be a millionaire before I know it. But it's
I've heard this before. I remember speaking like that when I was 17. I remember buying some silver coins about 10 years ago, being told the same story. Yeah. I wish you well, fella, but I'm not going to follow you down that road.
Well, obviously, you don't have to. But, what I mean is that I would only put the money in there I can afford to put in there. It was not at the expense of my business. And if I lose, then I'm not going to lose my business.
So are you actually recording this now?
I am recording it. Yeah, I started recording quite early on. Yeah.
So, I was going to say, don't
for you.
Yeah, don't worry about it. We'll soon come back and do it. Do it another time. This was just like an intro, really.
Yeah.
Well, an intro to see if we can have a conversation without one side getting offended, because we've experienced that before, haven't we?
We have, yeah.
When we disagree with somebody or say, no, we don't really want to go there because we're not interested in that, we found that, oh, well, what did you ask me on for then? So, well, let's just stick with the subject that we were on.
Yeah.
And we've had a few instances where we thought, that wasn't the right person to talk to. Because usually people have got stuff to sell, haven't they?
Yeah.
It's usually DVD, books themselves, they want subscribers, they want donate buttons.
Yeah.
They're just really recreating a system that they're pretending to walk away from.
Yeah.
We don't have access to the truth, but we have access to information that will help us live in a different way.
Yeah.
To claim we've got the truth is silly, because that means you're trying to sell something. We don't have the truth.
No.
We don't know the Queen's real position. We don't know who David Cameron reports to be honest. We don't honestly know whether the bankers are a bunch of thieving gits or whether there's just a few at the top and the people below them are terrified of them.
No.
We don't know if the bankers are just the stock market boys, are just greedy parasites who say sod the world and drive BMWs and shag prostitutes all weekend.
And we don't know if Max Kaiser set up Bitcoin. He won't admit to it.
Exactly.
He won't admit to it.
So there's lots of things we don't know, and the truth moves around so fast, just a fool would chase it.
Yeah.
But what we do like is actually saying how we experienced it.
Yeah.
And what's happened to us, and what's been successful in what we've changed, and what hasn't worked in what we've tried to change. And that's what we found that we enjoy talking about the most, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The hypothetical stuff that gets trampled over by everybody who doesn't know any more than anybody else. I mean, everybody's bloody winging it, really.
Yeah.
But nobody admits that.
No.
If you speak authoritatively, quote some celebrity names, claim you've read some bloody good books, and say, this is how it is, the people who can't be bothered to read them bloody books, who are not going to meet those names that you claim you have, all of a sudden think you know more than them.
Yeah.
This is a trick that's been played on us for 4,000 bloody years.
Yeah.
Why on earth would you believe all that rubbish? Early on, we've only been doing the radio now for a couple of years, just over 2 years. And early on, we realised these people don't know any more than us. We just think they bloody know more than us.
Yeah, you're right.
They've just read books and they start spraffing off books all day. These people don't even use their own words.
No.
They're just using other people's words to
Plagiarising
make
the
them.
words, yeah.
Santos Bonacci, fantastic example, not his own bloody words. He's disappeared off the internet. I think he's probably in jail, isn't he?
Oh,
Yeah. Well, actually, that Alan Watts, not Alan Watts, the old Alan Watts from the 60s and 70s.
Which one, the philosopher or the Canadian?
Although the philosopher, the Englishman from the psychedelic era from the 60s, he was.
All right,
the Buddhist.
I didn't dislike him, but
he said something brilliantly once. He said about you, exactly what you were talking about. That if so and so a priest could say that they heard what they heard from someone else who linked back to someone else, and they could say that the source of it was Abraham. It's the same as the academic citations. He said that all they know is books about books about books about books, and that's it. Yeah.
Early on, when we started this journey, because we didn't know each other until the journey started for both of us, and it was just a chance that Andy came in the chip shop, and I was playing on one of the TVs that I've got. I was playing a homemade DVD, wasn't I?
Well, yeah.
And the DVD was just stating some simple stuff.
Fluoride, MSG.
It was about fluoride, MSG, MRSA, C. difficile.
Yeah.
And I was just putting some crazy lines up there, trying to attract people's attention.
Yeah.
And it worked, because I met you. And, we've journeyed together, but mostly apart.
Yeah. It's just been a once a week coming together and sharing what we've found out and what we've dug up.
We've actually come to a conclusion that ours makes as much sense as anybody else's. and we claim nothing more than that.
No, I've got to tell you that I got a bumper sticker for you two. I've referred to you now as the Ron Seal Varnish of philosophy.
It does what it says on the tin. Quite like that one.
And I quite like
that one.
Yeah.
Right, now we're going to actually set up now and do our hour and a quarter record for the show for this week.
Yeah.
But before we let you go, when are we going to actually sort of redo this conversation, knowing each other and being comfortable with each other? When do you want to redo this conversation next Tuesday?
Well, to be honest, I'm happy to use this if you're all right with that.
Well, all right.
I have no problems with it.
Just send us it, and we'll actually use it at this end then.
All right, I'll do that. I'm going to do the posh version of it with proper audio mastering at my end.
We do the same thing at this end. We'll actually put an intro on it. We'll put an intro on it now. We'll have a little listen through when you send it through. Is it MP3? Yeah.
It should be. Yeah. I mean, I'll have a look to do that. I mean, because I haven't tried the share facility on Skype. As long as you
Just click share and it'll say send files, and just go to send files and it gives you your browse and you can pick it up easy.
Oh, that's cool. All right. Just remember...
Because we can do a 20-minute intro.
Yeah.
And then we'll have a listen through this and do a little bit of edits. And then we'll do an exit tape as well.
Can do, yeah.
Good thinking, Batman.
Whereabouts in the country are you, Niall?
Oh, I'm based in Devon.
You're down in Devon? Yeah, we come down to Cornwall on holiday and stuff like that. So next time I'm heading down that way.
You met someone from Facebook, didn't you? Was it Sunny Day?
It's Sunny Day, yeah. She lives in Cornwall. Yeah. No, we didn't actually meet up. No.
You were nearly going to.
We're nearly going to, but no, it didn't.
Because it makes an awful lot of difference meeting people. Because
it does, yeah.
I mean, Facebook. I mean, I don't dislike Facebook, but I understand what it's for. And you know, I use it as a news service. I mean, it's very good for news, but it's rubbish to put comments and opinions on. It causes bloody chaos.
Oh, I've been putting comments and opinions on there recently, but it's in a way. It's fun. In a way, it's been kind of good because it meant that I could find out who the people I want to get rid of from my life.
Everything's a learning game. I mean, we've never tried for subscribers or money or anything because we don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Our shows are just what we want to do. We put it on the internet and we say, we're just two guys from Yorkshire. We really are a roast beef Yorkshire pudding. You've got a 7-seater family car. I've got a 7-seater family car, and we have a party. There's not more Yorkshire than us, is there? Not really. You're from the South End, and you talk like you talk like that's the summer wine.
I do,
and I'm from bloody North End, and that's all like bloody Emmerdale. And it's just the way it is, you know.
True. That makes me a Southern pufter who drives a British Racing Green Mini Cooper. Hey?
Good lad. There's nothing wrong with that.
At least you can drive.
Well, yeah. There's nothing wrong with hairdressers' cars, anyway.
Yeah.
Niall, it's been a pleasure. Look, what we'll do is send us it through. We'll have a listen. We'll do a start intro, and then we'll do an exit tape as well for our show. And then I'll send you back the link, and you can have a listen and see what we've done with it. And if you do the same, that'd be grateful.
All right, yeah, cool for that. And cheers for appearing on Shamanic Freedom Radio. And I'll send you the link. Yeah, cool. I'll send you the link as soon as my posh edited version is done. So,
cool. We enjoyed it.
Right, yeah, just send us to the raw version. We'll have some fun with it.
Yeah.
This is what it's all about. Now, it's been a pleasure.
It has.
When we see you on Skype, we'll give you a ring and check in and see what you're up to.
All right, that'd be cool. All right, Son, and you too. Have a good one.
Cheers.
Cheers, Niall. Take care, buddy. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.